I am. Oh yes, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to it's my Call of Duty panel. Is that all we're getting? Yeah. Let's. Whoa! Don't give me your sympathy claps. We're going to do this again. What's going to happen is I'm going to stand off there. We're going to do a little voice of God. I'm going to introduce myself, first of all. Hi, I'm Rick, by the way. Right? Going to introduce myself. And then I'm going to come on, and it's going to be like big noise. And then you're going to be disappointed because it's me and not the person you actually want to see. And then I'll get the person you actually want to see on stage. Does that sound like a good plan? Fantastic. Okay, let's do this again. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Call of Duty panel at POWER Con. Please clap and cheer. Welcome to the stage, your stage host, Rick Carranza. Look disappointed. Oh, yeah, me too. No, hi everybody. Are we enjoying POWER Con? Fantastic. If you are enjoying POWER Con, there's a little thing that we ask. If you're on a little thing like Instagram, social media, go in there. Make sure you're using like POWER Con as a hashtag. Tag any pictures that you're taking in there. Get the Fran Frontier as well. Tag us in that as well. Get the conversation going. But I don't want to take up too much of your time. Are there any fans of Call of Duty in here? I wonder where they could be. They're hidden. Look at them. Literally black on black. You guys have done very well here. I'm very proud of you. I love how you're giving me the meme eyes right now as well. Yeah. Oh my God. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm very happy to this panel because I am 43. I remember playing Modern Warfare 2 when it first came out. Anyone in my category? Yes, thank you. In my one. And then they've re-released it and it was just as good. And this man here is involved in it. So please put your hands together and welcome to the stage, Samuel Roukin. Here he is. Hello. Good to see you. Good to see you. Grab yourself a seat. We have water. Samuel.
Hello.
How's your day?
Hi, everybody.
Give him more. How's your day going?
My day's going great, thank you.
Yeah?
Yeah. What I love being in Glasgow.
Is it your first?
It's not my first time. No, I did a movie here, and I visited here. I've spent more time probably in Edinburgh than Glasgow, but I love Scotland, and it's great to be here. And this is a great convention. It's brilliantly organised.
It is.
And look at all these. I just love it. I can't get enough of the Ghost cosplay. I really can't. 1, 2, 3, 4. I've got like 10 of them here.
It's brilliant, isn't it?
It's so good, yeah. And some really great cosplaying as well. I mean, it's like...
It's somehow intimidating, but I feel safe.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah, we're well covered.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we've got a squad. But it's great, you know, and I love doing conventions. I love interacting with the fans. It's the kind of medium where... if we don't have events like this, then we don't get to see the people that we're making the game for, right? Because, you know, everybody's in their own dark room playing or whatever. So this is not like I always say, like, this isn't a one-way street, right? This is an opportunity for us to connect with the people that we're doing it for as well. So I love it. I'm always grateful to be at these things, and it's a lot of fun.
Did you play Call of Duty before you were?
No, I'm really not a big gamer. Primarily right now because we've been kind of holding off in our house because of our kids. Because once you take the genie out of the bottle, then it's done. So I think probably this year will be the year that the games, they're itching to play Call of Duty, of course.
I bet they are.
But no, when I was a kid, I was playing, do you remember GoldenEye?
Oh my God, yes.
I was obsessed with GoldenEye, and I loved... I loved FIFA. I'm still a big FIFA fan, for the football.
Yeah.
And then I loved stupid stuff like Mario Kart and, Street Fighter.
Oh yeah.
But
definitely.
that was also because, when they go, Roukin, right? That was like, oh, that's my name, right? So then my friends at school would be like, Sam Roukin. Like that, right? And then, because I have two brothers and they're called Ben and Joe, then someone was like, Ben Joe Sam Roukin.
Oh, yes.
We do all these things. So, I was a big fan of Street Fighter too.
I love it. I love it. You bring up Mario Kart there. Mario Kart is like the great ender of friendships, isn't it? You know,
Yeah. There's nothing. They told me to be careful not to fall off the stage. Right? I want to make sure I can see my friends over here. But yeah, it was But also FIFA's like that as well. Oh my God. You know, but that was the cool thing about GoldenEye. I don't know if it was the first, but it was like the first game I played where you could be on the same team as. You were all on
2v2 and stuff like that.
Yeah. You were on like the job together.
Yeah.
And so it was collaborative,
Yeah,
that's good.
Except when you come to the multiplayer and it was like slappers only.
Right,
no one goes odd job.
Yeah.
The person who went odd job, that friendship gone out the window.
Yeah.
Amazing. So I love talking about sort of like the older stuff because I think I'm in the same bracket as you in terms of that sort of gaming time. I was very much a Mario Kart, Street Fighter, FIFA as well. I remember the World Cup '98 was like the best version of FIFA.
That's a good one. Yeah,
just mainly because of the soundtrack. So I'm in that same thing. But I was a big Call of Duty player when that came out. So Modern Warfare 2, especially Black Ops.
OG Call of Duty.
Call of Duty. So when it was re-released, I was very interested. What was it like for you? Because obviously now you say you weren't really sort of Call of Duty player. How did you sort of get the part? What was it like coming into this sort of franchise?
Yeah, so it was the pandemic. It was the first kind of significant job out of the pandemic for me. So that it was a great feeling to be back at work anyway. But yeah, it came through like a regular audition does, except they're very secretive about it, so you don't really know. I'd been told sort of, under the radar that it was for Call of Duty, so I knew that, but it wasn't clear who the character was. But what was really cool, because of how well it was written, and the writing on Call of Duty is as good as any TV or movie script that I've done. Like, it's really top drawer writing, which is why I think it connects so much with the fans now, because the story's so good. But in any case, the audition was originally a monologue, just like a straight like 2-page monologue, and it was written in such a way that there was sort of only one way to play it, as I saw it, and I didn't realize, but I had like dropped straight into Simon Ghost Riley without really realizing it. And then the next part was I did an audition with, all of the main people like Brian Bloom and the Infinity Ward guys and the director and Jeff Nagus, who's still doing it, and I did all of the. I didn't do the monologue again. Then they gave me new scenes, and at that point I knew who I was going up for. But I didn't really have to change much because I was already kind of in the spot. But I didn't know, because I wasn't a Call of Duty player, I obviously knew what Call of Duty was, but until you're in it and until the juggernaut of marketing happens, it's hard to kind of conceive how big it is. So whilst we were making that first game that I did, it felt actually quite intimate. There's really only about 20 people that you see every time you go in and do it. The motion capture and everything. So, and then the whole thing comes out, and your face is on the Arc de Triomphe, and it's bananas. And I was like, oh, this is quite a big deal. But it was really fun. It's a really great project to work on. Yeah. The actors are fantastic. The writing's excellent. The crew was so nice, and the community that plays the game are incredible. Like, and they're so committed to the game, and at these tables where we meet fans, you hear some incredible stories about how the characters or the story like got people through hard times because they feel some kind of connection to these characters, and like, what other reason is there to do storytelling in whatever way you're doing it, whether it's through games or movies or TV or whatever we're doing? Like, the whole point is to connect in some way with the human experience. And this is when I became an actor, this wasn't on my mind of things that I was, but it's opened up a whole new world to me, and I'm so happy that it did.
Brilliant. I mean, it's something that you just sort of touched on there, which is so interesting. There's the panel I'm doing after this as well. But you're talking about storytelling within gaming, and a lot of people wouldn't consider people outside of gaming. They wouldn't look at Call of Duty and think there's a story to tell. They would think like, oh, it's just a shooting game. What could you actually possibly tell? Did it shock you sort of how in depth like sort of the storytelling was? Because you've got a lot of experience from sort of TV and film.
Yeah, I didn't know. I didn't know how rich it was. And that was what was so exciting. When the script, when that first audition came, I was like, God, this is really good writing. Does it need to be this good for a video game? Was like the first kind of naive question I asked. But yeah, that's the evolution, right? It's now in a place where storytelling and storytelling at a high level is the thing. I mean, video games are grossing more than blockbuster movies, like week by week. So it deserves quality. And I think now the fans expect it. The fans expect a level, and they should. And the bar's been set high, and and every time another AAA game comes out, it has to do something new. It has to like move the technology forward, and the bare minimum is it has to be a great story.
I think it's telling where some of the best TV shows right now are based on video games. Like the Fallout and Last of Us and stuff like that. So I think it's wonderful to see how storytelling has become such a core part of it. You sort of came to the franchise, to say, as an unknown. You weren't really aware. Do you think that helped you in terms of preparing for that role?
I do think I think it helped my anxiety. Right, I didn't have any concern about meeting an expectation or being as good as or matching anything. I really came to it. First of all, Activision wanted to re-energize this character and go deeper and find a new direction for him. And so I benefited from that because the writing was probably better than it had ever been. Because I wasn't kind of aware of, or at least not aware, but I wasn't thinking about how big it was. I didn't really feel any pressure. I was so excited to be doing a project that was well written and fun to do, and we'd gone at that point, really 2 years without any significant opportunities in the film industry because of the pandemic. Everybody was just so grateful to be back in it. So no, it definitely helped. I mean, because it was like I said before, when it came out, I remember having the thought going, I'm so glad I didn't know, and then you can't unknow it. So then, when we immediately made another one, almost like within 6 months, we started doing the next one. And then, then the pressure's on because you're like, it has to be as good as the last one, better really, so, but yeah, it definitely helped, I think.
But you've had sort of experience with other franchises before Call of Duty, so Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Harry Potter.
Yeah,
as well.
Those ones I definitely felt I was going into something huge. Yeah. Harry Potter was cool because I was an actor. I became a professional actor like halfway through that franchise, right? Because I remember when we were at drama school, one of the reps from Equity, which is the actors union in England, came to talk to us at drama school, basically to get you to join the union, and they were celebrating the deal they'd done for the first movie of the Harry Potter franchise, because, residuals, which are very common in America, were not kind of hugely part of what of the income stream in England, but they'd kind of set a new bar for that. So I remember that very clearly, and I guess that must have been they were making the second one, And then I came out, and then every year they were making, or every 2 years they were making a new Harry Potter. I was like, what? God, come on, I got to get in one of these, you know? And then finally, when the Deathly Hallows was being cast, I got the call to go in. I was like, come on, come on. And I remember I was, I was in LA, like doing a round of meeting casting directors and whatever. And before I went into my first meeting, I got the call from my agent saying, you got it. It was very fun phone call. But I remember going in to see, that was interesting because Harry Potter those two were directed by David Yates, who's a really wonderful director. But I expected, when I went into Harry Potter, for it to be very prescriptive because of how much is invested in it and how big it is and how expensive it is to make it. And it was the complete opposite, and I was really surprised. I remember we were doing the first scene, and it was we were in the forest, and it was Harry and Ron and Hermione and Nick Moran, who was my we were a kind of bit of a double act in that, and I remember going to set, and we've been hours in hair and makeup and all that stuff, and I imagined that when we got to set that it would kind of be like, right, you stand in there, and then you walk over there, and you pick up that, and you do that. And I remember we got to rehearsal. That's what I thought rehearsal was going to be. And David Yates got us all together, and he was like, okay, so how should we do this then? I was like, you what? How should we do it? You're asking me. I was like, oh, well, this is fun, you know. But that's why those movies were so good. Because you weren't telling people what to do. They were empowering people to have ideas, and then you would fine tune it. It was really fun. It was a whole year of that. It was great. And then Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was a big, that's a big beast to go. That Marvel universe is very different. And when you go on those lots in LA, they're very careful about leaking anything, or that felt much more like you were entering into a kind of machine. It was also really fun. I mean, I didn't love 4 hours in blue makeup as a Kree. That wasn't my favorite, but the doing of it was, really cool. And it's, again, like a big fan base, and so that was fun, yeah.
Exactly. And so, you had those two experiences. How do you compare, not the physical experience of direct. You had David Yates there, who's like, what are we going to do then? We've had the very prescriptive sort of, do this, do X, Y, Z in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. What was it like then of Call of Duty? Because obviously you're not physically on a set. What was that like?
We talk about it when we're doing Call of Duty. We talk about it. It's the best analogy is like the final rehearsal in a rehearsal room for a play. So when you do a play, you have the set in the rehearsal room, but it's like a low-end version of it. Like everything represents what it's going to be, but it's not the final thing because that's what's going on stage. And when you're doing performance capture in the volume at the studio, it's similar. So you have like bits of scaffolding on a hinge with a tennis ball on it for the door of a Hummer, and you're sitting on blocks and people are like, if you're on a boat, they're literally like, there's 4 guys like rocking the scaffolding so you move a bit like a boat, And so it's a bit like that. But again, like another reason why Call of Duty is so fun to do is because everybody's got a seat at the table. So they do have an idea because a lot of the time they've already animated it to a degree, but it is malleable. So they're open to ideas, and so it's kind of, I'd say it's somewhere in the middle, because the engine of the game demands a certain amount of planning ahead, right? So it's not quite as loose as David Yates was.
They're turning around saying, "Don't scratch your nose. That will cost us $100,000."
Yeah. Well, the good thing about about video games is they can change that. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I guess we're going to open it up to some questions in a second. What we'll do is I have a wireless microphone, so I will come to you. I just got one last question, sort of like in terms of like the future of your profession, sort of voice acting and acting. How worried are you about AI? Like, do you think if it's something to be really concerned about, or is it something that could be just considered a tool? What do we think?
Well, as it relates to acting in general, I think the jury's out. Because whilst we might be proving that it is possible to trick people into thinking they're watching human beings, we've yet to find out what kind of tolerance the audience has for their storytelling to be done by derivative computers.
Yeah, that's a really
There is
good point.
nothing original. This is important to remember. It is impossible right now to have an original idea that came from AI.
Yeah.
Everything it does and can do and can say is copied from the actions of human and words of human beings. So as of now, the only original ideas can come from humans, and that's good.
Yes.
And it's still not good enough to do what we can do. And by the way, it's also not efficient enough. Like the amount of programming and prompting is the word I was looking for, that you need to make it do the things you want to do. You give me a direction, and we can roll, and I'll do it.
Yeah.
And we've got that, and you're like, right, what other options do you want? And we can do that, we can do that, we do that.
Yeah.
We work all day, way more efficient and cheaper than, and energy efficient as well than what AI can do. The truth of the matter is, the video games where they are now cannot be done without AI. Like we've been using it for a while.
Yeah.
I mean, video games have to use artificial intelligence to make things smoother, to make things more realistic, because we're not filming and just putting that on and showing you what we filmed. We're putting it into a playable engine, right? So it requires the skills of artificial intelligence and the tools that it provides. I'll give you a great example actually where it was actually useful. So in the last Call of Duty, we were doing, I was doing a play during the final bits of shooting. So I was in Chicago at Steppenwolf doing a play, and they were finishing off the game in LA, and I couldn't be there. But they were able to take the work that I'd already done on the game and use that to recreate what they think I would have done in the room, but have me do all of the extra voice acting that was needed to marry it all together. AI did that, and that was a great use of it. The question is, will it replace actors? I don't think so, actually. Because I believe that when you take human beings out of the human experience suffers massively. And I don't think human beings want to be told stories by people who don't sweat like them, who don't love like them, who don't feel pain like them. The reason why all of these people are here is because it's connected with them on some emotional level. And I truly believe that that's because of the work of humans. So that's where my money is.
Love it. And you brought up some points that I hadn't considered, so absolutely fantastic. I'm going to open it up to the floor for questions. As I said, I will come to you. We've got some time for a few. So have we got any questions, comments? Of course. Here we go.
Come on, Simon.
I've actually forgotten what I was going to say.
Do you need a moment?
When you said about the scaffolding being shaken about on a boat, what was it like when you were doing your dramatic things on a boat in Call of Duty?
What was it like?
Yeah.
To do the boat boat stuff. I'm sorry, I'm not sure I understand the question.
So when you were on the scaffolding, you were talking about how you were being shaken around. What was that like? Sort of that experience of doing your dramatic stuff while being shaken.
I see what your
Is that
question.
what you mean? Yeah.
Okay, I understand. It's it makes it more challenging because it's quite funny to be rocked around on a boat and pretend that you're on a boat, and doing all of this is like it's hard to be serious, but yeah, you get over that and be a professional and put your big boots on and do it. But funnily enough, it all helps in the end, right? Because anything that you don't have to imagine ends up making the job easier. But I do when there are four people around you, literally whose job it is to do that, it's hard not to see that is funny. It is funny. Yeah. But that's not always appropriate.
Stop laughing. It's my job. It's what I've been hired for. Yeah. Yes.
I wanted to ask.
No, louder is better.
I wanted to ask what your favorite voice line as Ghost was throughout the series, and if you can even remember it.
What my favorite Ghost line was in the series?
Yeah.
I have several, and I have reasons for why they're my favorites. So I would say number one favorite is "No one fights alone." I feel like that line marked the next chapter of who Simon Ghost Riley is. We've always known that he's an excellent sniper, and a Lone Ranger was how he's presented. But the idea that he is conscious that he can't survive on his own is a big deal. And I think it kind of invited the audience in a bit. So I love that moment. I also really, in the Alone mission, I love the goldfish. See, I mean, all of those jokes, first of all, they were one of my favorite, just as an acting experience. It was so hilarious doing that day. That day took twice as long as it should have done because we couldn't get our together. And it was just wildly fun. We didn't know we didn't get those jokes until literally we turned up and did a bunch of other things, and they were like, "Oh, we should do this while we're here too." And I was reading it for the first time as I was supposed to be doing it, and we were crying. I'm a sucker for those simple, stupid dad jokes, and so that was one of the funnest days on set. But and of that canon of jokes, my favorite is two goldfish in a tank.
I mean, that is still like my favorite joke of all time. Full stop. It's brilliant.
Two goldfish are in a tank. One says to the other, "You know how to drive this thing." Come on, what's better than that?
Perfect. We'll take two more questions. I can see there's one over there, so I'm going to come all the way over here. Getting my steps in.
So we all know that Soap dies in the most recent card game.
Oh no, you've told everyone
Sorry.
now.
Sorry. What was your reaction to that being put in the script? Was that a surprise to you that they decided to make that decision with the story?
Yeah. I've told this story before, but the three of us, the rest of the 141, found out on the day we shot the memorial scene. So none of us knew it was coming. Neil knew. So the guy who plays Soap knew that it was happening before everybody else, which is correct. Because then that also means that you don't have a job anymore. So that's kind of important to know. We found out at lunchtime on a shooting day when we were doing other scenes. And then at the end of that conversation was, and we're going to shoot the memorial scene this afternoon. And I was surprised and sort of sad as an actor, because we Neil's a friend. And then also just I had two responses to the news. One was the sadness, and from the 141's perspective, like such a huge moment to lose one of us. And then for the writers, I had so much respect, because you have to swing big in this world and in this world of storytelling. And if you don't make some big swings, you don't get anywhere, and you don't achieve. Like, so big storytelling moves are the name of the game. So I was impressed that they were willing to go there. And then shooting the memorial scene, which probably falls into one of my favorite, quote unquote favorite lines, but like that scene was really moving, because it was all so fresh. Our not only we just found out, but it was the personal connection to saying goodbye to another actor on the job. And so I think it was smart of them to do it that way, because I think it really helped with the real emotion of the scene.
Brilliant. Okay, we've got time for one last question, so thank you very much. Here.
Hi.
Hi.
A little bit out of left field here, but when you were playing Captain Simcoe in the TV show Turn, because he's a real historical figure, how much prep did you put into that role, and what were the main differences between playing a real person and a regular fictional character?
That's a great question. Thank you. I did lots of research, but when I did the first episode, I only had 5 days to prepare for it, because it was the pilot, and those things turn around very fast. So, but at that point, they weren't planning for him to go through the entire show. So, and they weren't technically basing it on a real guy. They were just naming him Simcoe. Then there was months of time that went before we shot the series proper. And then I had lots of time to prepare and read. I read his memoirs, his autobiography. I read a biography about him. I'd actually already visited some of the Ontario where he founded later. But it's it is very different when you play somebody that's real, because there's a different kind of responsibility that comes with the based on a true character, because there are some facts that you just need to know. That being said, Simcoe probably, as I played him, was not like, as he was written as well, was not like really like who he was in real life. But there are some strange things that appear in the memoirs, So there was enough kind of room for me to do what I did. But I think when you know that you're playing somebody that there's a historical reference to, it's your job as an actor to do your work and find out as much as you can. And then you have to throw it all away and just do what the script says, because that's the job too.
Amazing. Thank you so much, everybody, for your questions. It's been brilliant. Can we please, big round of applause for Samuel, please? Who's going to the after party?
Oh yeah, the after party.
You'll see this guy again. Where will we see you?
Yeah, I'm DJing the after party.
He's DJing as well. So if you haven't got tickets to the after party yet, surely get down to that.
No, get down. I think it's at Strathclyde Student Union. Is that right?
I think so. Yeah. So brilliant.
We're gonna
make sure there. Also, if you have any more questions, or if you want to get a picture or anything like that, please head down to the booth as well. Go and say hi. Give him the stare. Whatever you need. Don't do the stare. The stare.
No, I like the stairs.
But again, thank you.
I don't like climbing stairs.
Thank you so much, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your con. Again, social media at Frontier UK, POWER Con, and I'll be back here at 2:45 for another panel. If you want to see you there. Thank you very much, everybody.
Light the candle.